Did you know that playing for Chelsea was never really a part of the plan for Cole Palmer? Chelsea number 20 put pen to paper for the West London club on the last day of the transfer window. He is still in his first season, but already with a double-figure goal contribution. It is beginning to look like the 21-year-old will become a legend at Chelsea. What the heaven is going on with Cole Palmer? Palmer joined Manchester City as a kid and always looked forward to representing Manchester City on the biggest of stages. He was hoping he would go the route to fellow Manchester City Academy graduate Phil Foden and work his way to the Manchester City first team. But the universe obviously had other plans. It seemed impossible for Cole Palmer to get a place in the Manchester City first team. So when Chelsea decided to buy him, it didn't seem like they were making a good decision. However, the young player who was bought to be just an addition to the Chelsea squad has turned out to be one of the most trusted players in the Chelsea squad this season. And Poch thinks he fits the Chelsea project. He's a young, talented player, of course. He decided to come because he expects to play maybe more and be more important here than at Man City. But that is not the most important thing. He wanted to come because he had seen that the Chelsea project was for him. He wants to improve his game, and he needs to show he is better than his teammates and deserves to play and find his place. We need to be careful with young guys, like experienced players. They need time to settle. He needs to settle because Manchester is different from London. The club and culture are different. Before starting to perform, he needs to settle, be in his shape, and be comfortable. We will not put pressure on him. Although he is not a striker, Cole is Chelsea's highest goal scorer at the moment. To some folks, Palmer is Chelsea's highest goal scorer this season because he is their penalty taker. But scoring penalties is a skill not every player has mastered. So, for Palmer to have scored all the penalties he has taken for Chelsea yet, he definitely isn't an average player. Also, becoming Chelsea's penalty taker in his first season shows how much his teammates respect him. Well, beyond just scoring lots of goals, Cole has made a major difference in a Chelsea team that seems to be having a lackluster performance. Palmer's quality has never been in doubt. Right from his days at the Manchester City Academy, he has been considered a player who can make a difference in the game. However, for some reason, Pep didn't consider him really good enough to be a regular in the City squad. Although this is not the only reason he left, it is one of the major reasons he couldn't continue with the Citizens. Letting Palmer walk away seemed just okay for Chelsea. They did not struggle to make this decision because Palmer was not at the level they expected him to be or because they had much better players. But it has been less than a year since Cole Palmer left City, and it is beginning to look like Pep and the entire team hierarchy made a mistake by letting him go. His 95th minute winning goal against them might be proof of this. Cole is currently performing at a level so high that Manchester City are beginning to wish they had him in their squad. He is doing things for Chelsea that he never did for them. And City might just end up feeling how Chelsea feels each time they watch Kevin De Bruyne play for the Citizens. It is easy to feel City does not miss Palmer because of the class of players they have in their squad. But with his form, he would have brought a lot to this current Manchester City squad if he had stayed back. Palmer was born on May 6, 2002 in Manchester, England. So, it only seemed normal for him to get into either the Manchester United or Manchester City Academy. Well, he did not start his football career with Manchester City. As a kid, he first started playing for a local club. While he was at this club, he was discovered by Manchester United and Manchester City scouts. Since he was really impressive, both clubs wanted to sign him, and he had to make the hard decision to choose one of these great clubs. Not a lot of kids get the opportunity to pick between two of the biggest clubs in England and on the planet. With this, you might not be far from the truth if you considered him lucky. But Palmer might not be as lucky as you think. You see, at a young age, he had to make the difficult choice of choosing between Manchester City and United. He could have joined United because of their rich history. However, his father advised him to join City because he had better training facilities. And he did just that. Palmer went through the ranks at City until he became a part of the senior team. However, you might believe joining City wasn't the right move for him because he didn't seem to fit into Pep's plans. You might even believe that, going by his talent level, he would have made it into the Manchester United first team. As much as you probably have a point, you must note that one reason Palmer is the player the world enjoys watching is because he was trained by Pep. Cole Palmer is currently associated with Chelsea's blue color, but deep in his veins and DNA is Manchester City's sky blue color. This is easy to understand if you have watched Chelsea Academy graduates play football. Palmer was coached by Pep for a long time. and this is why he is a stylistic and tactical fit for Manchester City. You might want to link Palmer's awareness of space and technical ability to the training he got at City. Well, you might not be wrong to do this. However, the 21-year-old midfielder is so effective for Chelsea not because of how talented and trained he is, but because how confident he is. How did Palmer become the big name that he is today? After joining the Manchester City Academy, Palmer went through the various age groups and was perhaps like any other player. However, he started standing out during his last days at the academy. As much as his technical abilities made him stand out, what really made him a lot more special than other players was his leadership abilities. Palmer played for the Manchester City under-18 side during the 2019-20 campaign and was the captain of this squad. After impressing with the City under-18s, Cole Palmer made his senior team debut in September 2020. This was in the 4th round of the EFL Cup. Interestingly, he had to wait about a year before he got his first goal. This goal was in the EFL Cup and was against Wycombe Wanderers. Manchester City won this game 6-1. So, Palmer's goal didn't quite make a lot of impact. Although Palmer was considered a part of the Manchester City senior team and made his senior team appearance in 2020, he did not play in the Premier League until October 2021, and this was in a 3-0 win over Burnley, the same team he made his senior team debut against. The same day, Cole made his Premier League debut. He went on to play for the Manchester City under-23 side, where he scored a hat-trick. 3 days after his Premier League debut, Palmer featured in City's thrashing of Club Brugge in the Champions League, and this match gave him his first Champions League goal. At this point, Cole had yet to make his FA Cup debut. Well, he made his debut on January 7, 2022, and scored in this match. Palmer's ability was not in doubt. However, 3 years after making his senior team debut, he was yet to make a mark for the club he consistently dreamed of playing for. He made it to the team list for several matches. However, he was an unused substitute in lots of those matches. A lot of players would have been comfortable sitting on Manchester City's bench and waiting for their turn to get into the first team. But Palmer clearly didn't have the patience for this. He was keen on being a first-team player, and he knew that with the likes of Mahrez and Bernardo Silva in the squad, his time wasn't coming anytime soon. With this, he decided he couldn't go all the way with City. Well, you should go all the way with this video. But first, like and share this video. Also, kindly subscribe to this channel if you are new here. Guardiola didn't want Palmer to leave, and he even made it clear he would have more playing time since Mahrez was leaving. After 2 or 3 seasons, he wanted more minutes than the last season. I understand completely. If Palmer had the minutes I gave to Phil from the beginning, Cole Palmer would be here. But I didn't give them to him. That is my responsibility. Why? Because of Bernardo, Riyad, and Phil. In that moment, I chose the other ones. We knew the quality he has, and the impact he has shown this season is enormous. It is not just goals and assists, it is quality. He is an incredible threat for Chelsea. In the future, you will not forget. It looks easy, but it's not. For young players, we always want them to stay, but this is normal. After 1 season, it is nice, and the 2nd season. But the 3rd season, it is, oh guys, I want to play. I don't want to sit on the bench. We understand as a club, we got an offer from an incredible top club like Chelsea, and I'm really happy for him. In all clubs, these type of things happen. Well, Palmer may have thought about this for a moment, but with the arrival of Jeremy Doku, he just knew that his journey to the top would be a long one if he stayed back at City. He opted to go out on loan and pick up some first-team experience. However, the hierarchy at Manchester City didn't agree to this, so in the end, he had to leave after Chelsea paid £40 million for his signature. Life as a Chelsea player. Palmer did not join Chelsea because he wanted to, but that was what life threw at him, and he didn't fail to take advantage of it. Since Cole couldn't exactly fit into the Manchester City first team, it seemed like he was going to struggle at Chelsea or sit on the bench for a while. But it's interesting how that's not what happened. Palmer arrived at Chelsea and walked straight into the first team. Being a part of the Chelsea first team is great. However, even more interesting is the fact that Chelsea's attack is built around Palmer, who a lot of people consider a newcomer. Well, he might be new, but he isn't acting like a newbie. Cole Palmer probably never had a position as a City player, but at Chelsea, he was made the right side of his team's attack his home. Well, Ye doesn't limit himself to the right. He often comes into the midfield and gives room for the right back to move forward. Whatever Palmer is at Chelsea, he could become at Manchester City. This is not a certainty, though. However, the way Pochettino uses him at Chelsea is the same way Pep uses Bernardo Silva. Even Phil Foden plays this way. So, this just might be a pattern of football he learned under Guardiola, but now replicates at Chelsea. Speaking of Palmer's style of play and influence on the game, Pochettino said in the position that he plays, and because he's a left footer and because he has some similarities and qualities, he's a potential Angel Di Maria. He has the capacity and the potential to be close to him with time. He's still far away, but this type of player that can link, can be a playmaker, has the capacity to score and assist. It's this type of player like Angel. Why did Manchester City sell Palmer? With all that Palmer brings to the table at Chelsea, it is easy to say that City just couldn't see his potential. But that's not the case. If it were about football alone, Palmer would have still been a City player. You see, Manchester City were looking to maintain the balance in their financial books, and that was why Palmer had to go. Really, they needed to sell a player, and they thought selling one that was yet to get integrated into the squad was best. Palmer's move to Chelsea might have made him look like a pawn. However, in the end, everyone's happy. Manchester City were able to avoid breaking financial fair play rules, Chelsea has a player that they can build their team around, and Palmer is enjoying a lot of relevance and first-team football. What is Cole Palmer's style of play? It might be difficult to understand how good Palmer actually is if you do not understand his style of play. Palmer is left-footed and can play in two major positions. He could be a part of the front three where he gets to play wide at the right or be a central midfielder. Regardless of the position he plays, Palmer is better at passing than at dribbling. A lot of times, all he needs to make an opposing backline look useless is a deft pass. Palmer's first instinct might not be to dribble when he is with the ball. However, after receiving wide, it appears the first thing on his mind is to dribble. While attempting to dribble defenders, Cole seems more interested in getting them to retreat instead of going after them. He can go on with this until he spots a player in a good position to score if the defender doesn't attempt to get the ball. On the other hand, if the defender makes any attempts at getting the ball, instead of dribbling, he shoots or crosses. As mentioned earlier, dribbling is not Palmer's strongest point, and defenders who know this can make attempts at getting close to him and pressing from the inside out instead of retreating. When defenders do this, their likeliness to lose the ball is high. Palmer may not be the best at beating opponents on the wings. However, when he is in a mere central position, he is able to beat opponents by simply changing positions and using some chops. Also, he appears to have a special ability to beat players in tight conditions. When Palmer arrived at Chelsea, he had scored very few goals and really wasn't expected to do a lot of scoring. However, he is currently Chelsea's highest goal scorer. He is still not as big a goal threat as he can be. However, with each passing game, he is becoming more threatening in front of goal, and he relies a lot of the fast shift and shoot technique, which appears to be working well for him. Cole currently has no plans for shooting at the far post. This has helped him score lots of goals. However, if he is to become more effective with goal scoring, he will also need to learn to shoot at the near post. You may know what Palmer can do with the ball at his feet, but he isn't only effective when he has the ball at his feet. He also brings a lot to the table when he is not in possession of the ball. He might not have a reputation for winning the ball back. However, he duels with aggression and presses intelligently. Since he is able to maintain a high press with intensity, he makes it difficult for his opponents to be creative with the ball around him. When Palmer presses, he might not necessarily win the ball back. However, he forces the opponents to only pass the ball defensively, and this obvious fact makes them a lot less dangerous. Palmer's international career. Palmer might have gone through the ranks of Manchester City. However, it was at Chelsea that he made his name. Right now, the world probably only associates him with club football. But there is more to his football career than just being a Chelsea player. Before coming to the limelight, Palmer represented England at the Under-17 UEFA European Championship. He went into the ranks with the English Under-21 side and the Under-23 side until he got his first call-up to the English national team. This call-up came on November 13, 2023, and 4 days later, he made his debut for the English national team. Palmer's debut for England was a welcome development, but it left some dust as his Chelsea teammate and senior player didn't make the England squad. For some, this simply means Palmer is better than Sterling. But as good as Palmer is, getting called to represent England with his teammate getting left out doesn't make him better. It was simply a case of the coach's idea favoring him. To avoid bad blood between fans of both players, Southgate had to clear the air. In terms of Cole, the key was we lost Maddison and Jude, so we wanted somebody who could play as a 10. Of course, he's playing wider at the moment for his club, but we hadn't lost a winger as such. We'd lost 2 attacking midfield players, so we've got a couple of players now who can fulfill that sort of role for these games. Raheem was excellent at the weekend against Manchester City, as was Cole, but the position was really the reason for calling up Cole. Cole Palmer is a great player, but he has nothing on kids from Brazil who walk into the first teams of top clubs in Europe as teenagers.